into that data versus our statewide data that we will continue to share. Beyond that, I really just want to reiterate some of the messaging we have been talking about for a few days. It continues to be critical for people to avoid crowds right now of any kind. The easiest way to do that is to stay home if possible. If you can work from home, that is great. If you have to be at work, distance yourself from people, wash your hands frequently, and then head home. If you are sick or have symptoms of illness, please do not go to work, do not go to school. We will continue to reiterate the importance of this. The virus spreads through illness and through symptoms being passed on from one person to another. That is how the virus continues to survive. So the more we can limit the virus being passed on to someone else, the more we're able to, as the governor said, put a lid on this to keep it under control for us as a state. This guidance is critical, as we have been mentioning, for older adults and for persons with underlying medical conditions. If you are sick, stay away from others, stay home. If there are others in your home, please do your best to stay away from them within your home setting. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has guidance for people who are ill and staying home on steps you can take to minimize getting someone else in your home sick. This guidance is true whether it's COVID-19, whether it's the flu, or another type of virus. As much as possible, you can stay in a specific room. Consider that the room for the person who is not feeling well, and stay away from other people in your home. If it's possible, you can use a separate bathroom where it's available. If there's one kitchen, you can take turns so that when the person not feeling well is able to, they can go to the kitchen and the other people stay in a different room. There are ways to be creative that go along with what we're saying, which is wash your hands frequently, use good cough etiquette, and making sure for sure that you're staying home. We know that we are asking for a lot, but we're asking everyone to do this because it's the best way to help Rhode Island as a state. All those who are quarantining, all those who are staying home, please know it is making a difference. The best way for us to put a lid on this is for everyone to follow the recommendations that are being stated. With that, I'm going to stop and pass it back to the governor to get us started with questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. Governor, we've been hearing from several people who say they've been tested many days ago, and they've been waiting 3, 4, in some cases 5 days to get their test back. We've also heard that hospital-based testing might be something that's happening, so can you just talk about what the delays are and how you're working to fix that?
So I'm going to have the doctor answer that. We'll take a few questions from you guys, then a few questions that have been sent in, and then a few questions from you.
So thank you for that. We have been focused on making sure that we have the influx of supplies that are needed to maintain the ability to do the expanded testing that's needed. Because of the limited resource, the governor has been amazing in pushing extremely hard, keeping Rhode Island at the forefront of making sure we receive the supplies that we need from our federal government partners. In the meanwhile, we have focused our testing results on those prioritized populations because we have to make sure that our healthcare workers are getting their tests turned around quickly, the hospitalized patients where personal protective equipment needs to continue to be used, as well as our congregate setting patients, including the nursing homes. So we have made it so that those patients that are healthy enough to recover at home are still getting their tests, but the time frame had been expanded so that we could focus on the prioritized ones.
Dr. Scott, this is the backlog. Is there a number for the backlog of tests that you have material for but you haven't been able to do yet?
We are making sure that all tests are being run, so there isn't a backlog on them, but we have moved up the ones that are the high priority ones, and we're already starting to get the results of the ones that we had to continue, but move to the side to continue the prioritized ones. So that's why there is a little bit of a delay, but those numbers are coming in, and the treatment is still the same. And so the message for those people who are waiting for the results is to continue to recover safely at home, make sure to stay home if you are ill, and that's regardless of if it's the flu, which we are continuing to see out there, or COVID-19.
So the advice is that the treatment is the same, but is it also the purpose of the testing to identify people who have it and then to let other direct contacts know that they should self-quarantine, whether that's a student in a school, a staffer at a school, someone at a workplace. So if there's a lag in the test results and you're just focused on priority, there could be a lag there where people then being moved to self-quarantine as opposed to just the generic suggestions. And do you actually have the capacity to test more? I think earlier you said you could do 80 a day. Are you doing that now?
So to answer the first part, the overall messaging we're saying still applies. We want everyone to monitor themselves for symptoms and to stay home. The purpose of quarantining is to stay home and to be able to self-monitor. So that message is being told across the board. People should only be going out if they have essential needs that they need to address. And if they have symptoms, they should not be going out. That is the same message we give to people who are quarantined, that they should actually not be going out and they should be monitoring for symptoms.
Dr.
The number of tests that we are testing at the State Health Laboratory has expanded significantly for that prioritized population. We are working with commercial labs and hospital labs to be able to expand it even further to respond to some of the additional tests in the populations beyond the prioritized ones that I have mentioned.
Dr. Rose, 44 cases spread among all 5 counties in the state. Is it in all corners of Rhode Island at this point?
There is no preference of county for this virus. We are receiving it from throughout, and as we start to release the data, we'll be able to share that information more definitively with you, Steve. Yeah. Our interaction with the ACI is similar to how we conduct any evaluations at any time. If there are concerns about illness, the ACI works very closely with us in addressing it, understanding, and testing. We are working through that right now. We do not have any cases at the ACI at this time. That information is updated to say that we do not have cases at the ACI at this time.
What kind of procedures do the correctional officers go through to get in and out? Because I've heard concerns about that as well.
That's something that we are working with on the ACI in terms of making sure that they have the infection control procedures and practices that would be recommended, whether it's COVID-19, influenza, hepatitis. Those are ones that we want to make sure that the correctional officers and the ACI, the medical director there, Jennifer Clark, is excellent. We work very closely with them to make sure that they have the information they need to protect the officers as well as the inmates.
Have there been cases there that have been moved out to other hospital settings, perhaps, or at the ACI? We had heard too that there were people there with the virus that's not where they moved out.
I am not aware of any other changes. Our team works very closely with them to address what is needed.
You have no reports of
any positive cases.
Go ahead. Then I was going to
It might be to the doctor as well. Just can you talk about the prioritized population? Do people need to be displaying all of the symptoms, one of the symptoms? We get a lot of questions. People are wondering, what that threshold is.
We determine that as long as we know that you're part of that prioritized population. We assess the qualifications, and it's not just one or it's not requiring all. If we have a healthcare worker that we have concerns about and we know the risk that's in place, we will work with them to make sure the testing is addressed.
Can you clarify how the testing is administered? I mean, are people, we don't have widespread drive-up opportunities?